that's not from today. Right, here we are, guys. Welcome to the Escape Gaming Masters. We are now in the lower bracket semi-final with TheViper and Nicov. Joining me today is T90 Official, and we also have Nilpford in the cast. But let's give it over to T90, who can introduce the players and these civs.
All right, now I have team colors on, and I can actually see that Zach does as well. So in the red, we have Nicov. He's playing as the Vietnamese, as is Viper, who's in the blue. Both players playing the same civs, so they're going to be using the same strengths, I imagine. But Zach, I will just start with Nikov's map, and then if you want to go over to Viper's map, we can do it that way. Nikov has a nice woodline on the left-hand side if he wants to take from that. There's a stone there. Also, he may prefer to go for that secondary gold, the back, the 4-tile gold, instead of that forward main gold, just because it might be a little bit better for him. Woodline's on the right-hand side as well. There's a small pond in the one woodline, but I think he can definitely use that at some point. Still a relatively open map for him, but players at this level could certainly wall a map like this up as well. And we'll see what happens for him. What do you think of Viper's map?
Yeah, taking a look at Viper's map, first glance, I mean, look at that main gold. It's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time, because he can't really saturate that in the Castle Age like he might like to, due to the fact it's really pushed up against the edge of the map. But at the same time, it is towards the back of his base. It's going to be super easy to defend that in theory. And right now as well, he's going to be happy with his berry placement because it's close to the TC. It's not too far forward. And also his lumber camp on this left side coming up should be fairly easy to defend this. Though he has got to watch out for the pond, because with Arabia, having these ponds can cause some trouble later down the line. If some archers, for example, come in here and get behind this wood line, that could be annoying. And so Viper might want to block that off with some palisades at the edges of the entrance to that little water later on. As for his map overall, though, it is very open on the front. And like you said, these guys will always find a way to wall up if necessary. But it might not be 100% necessary for Viper to wall. He could perhaps build some defensive towers if he's unable to achieve that, or alternatively just play very aggressively to counter the fact that it's going to be difficult to wall across the front of his base.
Yeah, I think Viper might need to consider that. I'm looking at the rest of the features of the map. You can see there's hills on either side, and as the game progresses, Viper's going to realize that he might be suffocated here. We saw this in some of the games where players would wall up, but then they'd be surrounded by crossbows or mangonels or whatever, any unit really that's ranged. And they quickly found that they probably should have pushed out a little bit more. So if you're the Viper in this situation, I think you need to recognize that wood on the left is exposed. There's no real way to wall that off from crossbows in the Castle Age or whatever unit choice may come in. And on the right side as well, that wood line, going to be hard to wall that up as well. So I think going into this, Viper will recognize he needs to be a little bit more aggressive and needs to be careful because Nikov has his scout.
Oh, he's trying
next to the villager.
Yeah, and actually that worked out kind of in Viper's favor because he manages to get a volley of arrows onto that scout, which means that now he will be able to harass the scout a little bit. And if either of these players go for a drush, that's going to give Viper a little bit of an edge due to Nikov's scout being a little weaker. But I just want to talk a little bit more about his map. His second gold, actually, or even his third gold, I don't know which one is his second or third, but it's way in the corner of the map here, and he might not see that for a while. And who knows, if he's pushed out, or if later on in the game he needs to grab that second gold, he might not realize the one in the corner is there, and we'll see if he scouts it. But he could certainly build a wall. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, not to mention that it's going to be very difficult for him to collect from that later in that game as well. So if he doesn't want to collect from that because it may be inefficient because of the wood line, he's going to need to go forward. So I think this all goes back to maybe he needs to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, we see that now reflected. I thought he was actually building a barracks. Am I just like, no, he is building a barracks. He's laid the foundation. And that's going to lead nicely into this drush. He's building the barracks now. I think he put it down at about 6 minutes 30. And he should be ready to go very shortly. Nikov also adding a barracks now. It's about 6:56. And that means that Nikov will maybe play defensively with this. We'll see, because, you know, he's got to be careful going aggressive now that his scout's about half health.
Yeah, I think Nikov's making a decision now. He doesn't know what Viper's doing, but I think he's just going purely off instinct. Viper put his barracks up, and Viper will probably drush. He's already collected the gold, so I assume he will send out the militia. And Nikov, he wasn't scouting that, obviously. He he was running back with his scout. I think he's sending it back across the map to that barracks because he wants to see what's going on. Nikov put the barracks up. He needs to make a decision. Is he going to drush, or is he going to go up to the feudal age? If he goes up to the feudal age, he could have other options like man-at-arms, archers, could go scouts as well.
So I just watched Nikov scouting there. He does see the barracks. He's immediately going back as soon as he sees it. He just wants to know, okay, is that barracks there? He sees it, but he doesn't see any flags inside. So he doesn't know if Viper's actually made any militia or if he's going to go for man-at-arms. And Nikov's probably going to look at the score now and realize, okay, Viper's made militia. This is a really subtle thing, but the fact that Viper's score is suddenly jumping up so high means that he's made the militia and he's not just saving them, waiting to go to the feudal and then do man-at-arms instead. So Nikov going back with his scout as he clicks up to the feudal age, and I expect we're going to see some man-at-arms from him, but he's not grabbed another 10 gold yet. So I'm going to be interested to see what he does here. He might just try and defend this without making anything from the barracks, and we see the palisade walls coming down. Could be a real indicator that that's his plan.
Yeah, palisade wall is coming up because he knows the drush is coming in. So let's just credit Nikov for the decision making thus far. Running forward, of course, a little bit unlucky to run into Viper's TC fire, but he went right back after he had to run back to his TC for safety. He found out Viper's drushing, and now he has to deal with it. And all of his woodlines are safe. And this is actually a really easy way to stay away from a drush. He's going to need to get some form of military out to attack that drush. But it looks like he has a game plan going into the feudal age, Zach.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he just builds an archery range close to his TC or off to the side, on the other side of where Viper's militia are. But, this is the thing, right? He can defend quite easily from this. How is this drush actually going to do anything when all of his villages are walled in? Viper's just standing here and he's like, oh, okay then. Well, I guess I'll attack the wall, but I can't attack any of these villas. And notice how Nikov hasn't even placed a single farm at this stage. He doesn't even have any food income right now. If you look at his mill, he's not doing horse collar yet, but he's throwing down 2 archery ranges on the right side, and it looks like we're going to see Nikov attempt to go into archers here. At first, he will, of course, make skirms, but I think his intention is to take advantage of the fantastic Vietnamese archer line, which gets a little bit of extra HP every age.
Yeah, and I think he should do that. And this is actually looking pretty good for Nikov because he's building these ranges uncontested as the drush for Viper is just battering away at these palisade walls. This is exactly what Nikov would be wanting at this stage in the game. Actually, one wall just went down and Nikov just put it back up. Zach, I'm at 11:45, by the way.
Okay, I'm at 12 right now. And so I think
so that's fine.
Yeah, very close. But yeah, the 2 ranges up on the right side, the skirms coming out. Now, obviously, the skirms are not going to be very strong versus the militia, but he will at least be able to deal with them. And as long as the Viper is not doing any damage to his villagers or delaying resource income too much, I think Nikov's going to be feeling fairly confident here as he sends these skirms over to deal with that. Now, of course, the advantage for the Viper in this situation is that Nikov is forced to defend. He can't go and immediately counterattack the Viper until he deals with these militia, and this has given Viper at home a chance to wall up, get nice and safe, and also start production of skirmishes himself.
Yeah, that's really the point of the drush, guys. It's not to kill villagers. These 3 militia really shouldn't kill villagers, especially at this level. But the fact that Nikov had to build all these palisade walls, he actually isn't going to be able to cancel them now. The fact that he has had some villagers just smudged up against that wood line has actually worked out for Viper here, I think, in hindsight. Viper now is back at home and he's adding in his own skirmishers. And if you look at the skirmisher numbers, it looks pretty close. And Viper also had a couple extra villagers working for him because he went up a little bit later. So this is a pretty close game, but I do see the blacksmith going up for Nikov now. Might be going for that early fletching.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to give him a nice edge if he gets that before the Viper and gets to force a fight. Now, I'm surprised that Viper didn't go into the berries here with the militia. And the longer this game goes, the less he's going to be able to do with these militia. He needs to use them as early as possible. And I think he actually had a great opportunity to go into the berries there and maybe even kill a villager if he managed to get a surround and block them in. As the berry bush was removed, he was able to actually get in there as the wall was broken. So what do you think to Nikov's strategy right here, Nilpford? Do you think Viper's in a good position, or do you think Nikov might have the edge?
I think both players going for a very similar strategy. Both going for mass skirms, now adding up fletching as well. And as you said before, the militia won't do much. He's sending them back home. I would love to see them like stacked in the north corner and being used to scout later on. Maybe to find a scout switch or early castle age to see if Nikov will build defensive magnets or something. But for now, I think we are looking into very even game here.
Yeah, so far I would definitely agree. Viper with a big score lead though, which is interesting. Could be down to scouting at this stage of the game. But Nikov we see with a tower on that gold and a mining camp coming up, so he wants to make that switch into archers. And right now Viper's making a move, coming in with his scout and the skirmishers on the left side. And Nikov has the edge here because he has fletching. Viper does not have a blacksmith at this stage of the game, so Nikov could take this fight, I feel.
Well, the fight's coming in now. Nikov should have the edge in that fight. The other thing, I don't know if you realize, Viper sent 5 villagers forward, and he's building a blacksmith in the middle. So obviously he wants to get aggressive, and that's kind of confusing. He's collecting stone as well, which means he might be putting up some towers shortly. But that was a really good tower for Nikov on his gold.
Yeah, I'm wondering where Viper could tower here. He could do it on this wood line on the right-hand side, and he does have vision of that through the fog of war due to seeing the chopped trees, so that could be a potential. He also does know about the tower on the gold as well, so he should be aware of that, but what is he doing? He's sending his villagers into the skirmishes of Nikov. That's going to give Nikov a big heads up about what's happening, and Nikov's bringing all of his villagers into fight as well. Gotta love that. But Viper here, maybe with the edge actually, fletching coming in, it looks like he's got slightly more military, and this is a messy fight.
Very messy. I guess the question I'm asking right now is, what will Viper gain from this tower? Is he trying to get in? Is he going to batter down the house then after he wins a fight? Can he get it up? The villagers coming in for Nikov. Of course, skirmishers have minimum range, so the villagers can get in close, but with this many skirmishers, players at this level can focus down vills, and there's a lot of weak vills there. One going down for Viper now.
Yeah, Nikov has some really low vills as
more
well.
Weak vills, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to bring the weak ones back, though, I think. And Viper's tower going to fail. He's lost 2 villagers out of his 5. They are now idle, doing nothing. And of course, Nikov did bring 6 villagers into fight. It's such a mess right here. But the villagers actually doing great in this engagement. And Viper might even lose another villager here. So far, Nikov not losing 1 yet.
That small hill.
Yeah.
That Viper is able to get on really helped him out there. He's losing some vills now on the front, but that really helped Viper. But still, that was a huge loss for him, and I don't understand the decision to go forward at all because he didn't gain anything from doing that if he pulled it off, Zach.
Yeah, I completely agree, actually. I mean, that was really messy, actually, from Viper there. He lost all of his forward villagers, I think. Oh no, there's 1 left, but he lost 4 forward villagers. And so far, Nikov still has not lost a single villager. Now, of course, Nikov's villagers here, they're low. They are in the fight. But if Viper's losing his vills and Nikov isn't, he can send his villagers back to work later and have a huge advantage now. We're talking about a 5 villager advantage for Nikov. And Viper completely losing this forward. This is really a thorn in Viper's side now for the rest of this game. It's going to really set him back.
Yeah, it looks like there's equal skirmisher numbers, which means that Nikov will be tempted, as will Viper, to add in those archers. And those archers, of course, will venture over to the base of Viper or the base of Nikov if they can get in. And they will start picking off villagers. Skirmishers, as you can see, not very good at that, guys. One thing I want to point out is that Nikov's done a really good job at walling amongst all of this. On the left side, there's a nice wall. On the right side, he's now completing that wall. So he should be safe enough if he cleans up these skirms to push out and counterattack at Viper's base.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you look at the population, 57 for the Viper, Nikov on 67, a 10 population lead at this stage of the game is massive. Viper here really struggling. He's continuing the skirmisher production, trying to keep the pressure up by gathering them in the center of the map. But I think Nikov might even have the edge. 22 skirms for the Viper. Nikov on 26, plus the additional villagers. Both players now also with the +1 defense on these guys as well. So upgrades are even, and that gives Nikov an edge every day of the week.
Yeah, Viper needs to do something to pull this back now. And I did look at the resources of Nikov. It looks a little bit higher. So Viper's going to need to change things up. He may be tempted to go scouts, but I feel like now it's kind of a waste just because the archers are going to be coming out and the archers can focus down. those scouts. So Viper might be trying to build up his economy a little bit better back at home, but certainly going to lure this army from Nicov away, kill as much as possible before his units go down.
Yeah, Viper here kind of getting trapped, actually. He ended up having a bad fight. Nikov splitting his army into 2 groups, meaning that he can actually control this fight a little better and, with his superior numbers, take the Viper's skirmishers down. Now, as you said, Nikov is moving into archers, and if we look to the left side of the map, they are making a move across. Viper, so far, still only making skirms, and that means that his raiding potential is much lower. Those skirmishers, terrible at killing villagers, as we've seen already in those previous fights, and now Nikov with the archers going straight for Viper's economy, and I think he's going to hit this wood line here. As I said earlier on, he can just walk around the edge, and Viper hasn't taken the precaution of actually walling the edges of this little oasis.
Yeah, maybe a heart-shaped pond, but this is not going to be lovely for Viper.
Not at all.
The archers are going to come around, and Viper's going to be pushed away from that wood line, going to have to go to the other one. It all goes back to what I was saying earlier. Viper is going to be sandwiched if he doesn't win fights, and so far he's struggled, but big fight in the middle now.
Yeah, Nikov with a hill advantage, and look at this, Nikov up to the castle age, and I heard a stable going down at the same time. So Nikov here, such a strong position, 2 stables coming up for him. The castle age is on the way up as well, and with that, once Nikov hits the castle age, knights into these skirmishes, Viper is going to have an impossible time defending the skirms at any rate. He's also on the way up to the castle age as well, but Nikov with a commanding lead at this stage, and we saw these archers coming in, disrupting the wood line for Viper as well. So he's feeling very cornered, very pressured at this stage. The only thing he can take sort of safety in, I guess, is the fact that right now he does outnumber Nikov's skirms, but that will not stay the same for very long once Nikov hits the castle age.
Exactly. Skirmishers are, I don't want to say useless unit, because Viper has enough, and even Nikov has enough where they can get elite skirm, but it's not going to matter against 2 stable knights. If he keeps them forward like this, I feel like he should run back to the safety of his own base just to make sure that these skirmishers aren't close to the incoming knights. But we will see that upgrade for Nikov any moment now. It will be coming in, and he will have upgrades as well.
Yeah,
his resources look really balanced, Zach. Look at the balance of his resources.
Nikov, yeah, absolutely. He's in a position where he can just pump knights now. He's got 9 villagers on gold, which is great. He's got plenty of farms up, and I believe he's done wheelbarrow as well. He's also going to have to gather a bit of stone before he can actually make the 2nd or 3rd TC. But with 2 stables, that's a really big indicator that he's looking to get aggressive, and we see that with the siege workshop coming up at the front of his base as well. Viper now falling back to his own base. Nikov, he's already there, and maybe some archery range upgrades as well. And yeah, we see the crossbowman upgrade for Nikov here too.
This is actually a strategy I've seen more than once. Normally, if you go 2 stable in standard AOC, you're going to go 3 stable and commit to more knights. I've seen a lot of players go just 2 stable and still get crossbow and elite skirmisher. It's really weird. It might be because the military units they're using are strong enough. Please tell me there's not a hole at Viper's base. Okay, there's not.
Yeah, I was hoping the same. There's always a hole, man, but not this time.
Exactly. I just think that's why they're getting so many upgrades. Nikov does not have his knights next to his main army of skirmishers and crossbows, though, and Viper's waiting for him.
Yeah, but Viper also doesn't have ballistics at this stage, which means that Nikov is able to dodge a lot of those shots and bring his knight in now. So that's probably going to spell the end for these skirms. But then saying that, he does the elite skirmisher upgrade. He will actually take down the knight, I think, with just 2 HP left. Surely that's going to go down. But Nikov here, still waiting on that +2 defense upgrade, but, you know, I like his strategy. I think this makes a lot of sense right now. Viper feels very backed into the corner. We saw a couple of vills going down on the left side from the raiding, and Viper needs some space to move out. Meanwhile, Nikov's just going all in aggression to make sure that Viper doesn't have that space. Make sure that he can't get out of his corner of the map and build his extra TCs and get some of the map control back.
Yeah, Viper's done a good job at least gaining map control back. I still think he's behind, though.
Oh, and there we go. Okay,
yeah.
So guys, on the stream, we have to tell you what's gone on now. The game has crashed, and that was because during this game, well, the game crashed. Both players agreed that Nikov was in the commanding position and would have gone on to win that game. Instead of replaying the game, they agreed that they would rather play a best of 3. So, I know it sucks.
More games.
I know it's really lame, the fact that we had a drop, but it also means that we get to see another game, and Nikov will actually get the point for that game. It's less than ideal. Maybe Nilpford can give us some insight. I think it was very clear that Nikov had a big advantage, but Viper could have potentially come back. I mean, it's a really difficult decision to decide what to do in this case.